Hey,
So,
Patrick, how you doing, bud?
not too
Oh,
bad.
uh-oh.
Oh,
That
oh,
was fast.
oh, I
Oh,
was quick off the mark there. Just, yeah, we're doing something a bit different this time around. I'm recording on my side, isn't it?
yeah, well, third or fourth time's a charm. Let's figure it out.
Yeah, it's all set up, ready to go, as they would say. Now,
Well, hopefully your studio is better than mine.
yeah, it's slightly different. What was I going to say? So, what is this film you sent me on, our video? Sorry.
So this is about EBT, and this is Lindey Glenn, who has put together a really good compilation. So we're going to go this. All the videos that we were looking at, she compiled them.
Hmm.
She did a lot of the groundwork, but there are some things that I feel that we can do that are definitely an add to what's going on here. And it talks about people in the United States who are using their EBT or SNAP benefits, and they'll end up with 12 or 15, $16,000 in an EBT account. And
Wow.
they'll video on TikTok and other places their in quotes haul. Like a couple of the videos, a lady was saying she had 12 or 13 grand in there. They went to Sam's Club, which is like a Costco type spot. It's a membership. You pay X amount of dollars, $100 a year, and you get a little card and you can shop there.
Right.
So you buy in bulk there, which is the Sam's Club Costco thing. You don't buy
Hmm.
one thing of mayonnaise, you buy two. You don't buy one thing of peanut butter, you buy two. You buy crates, you all
Oh,
this. Like
wow.
it's just you buy the industrial size bag of chips, or you buy 60 bags of chips as opposed to like six or eight. So
Oh,
she
wow.
showed a $1,500 haul, and she covered her entire kitchen table with different meat and stuff. No veggies. We saw a banana in one picture, but it was
Yes.
pretty bad.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she of all the pictures she showed of all her different hauls, there was only one that had any kind of fruit and veg, and that was just a sad 6 pack of bananas.
Well, some of them get peaches, but that's to make super, super sweet Kool-Aid.
Yes,
So
yeah.
that's yeah.
When the ladies pointed out, and I was kind of going, so you're going to add more sugar to more sugar.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So
And
if
a
you
lot
want,
of them
do you
don't.
want to explain what ETP is to people outside the United
So
States?
EBT, right. So EBT or SNAP is a benefit that you get that helps your family get food if you are under a certain economic threshold, right? So
Mm.
if you are on certain kinds of benefit packages, one of them is the SNAP EBT, along with Section 8, which is like council housing in the EU.
Mm.
There's Medicare. Every state has their own Medicare. In California, they have Medi-Cal,
Okay.
right? So all the states run a program that the county administers. So they call it county insurance. It's actually a federally subsidized insurance.
Now,
So the
what
go ahead.
what I'm curious about, you know, this card they get to spend on shopping. Is there
Mhm.
also cash to go with that?
Yes, there's also EBT cash. It is not as prevalent, and you don't get as much cash. Uh, but the big one is in quotes the food stamps. So the SNAP or EBT program used to be called food stamps, and you would get colorful booklets that would have dollar amounts on them. So you could
But
take your dollar amount
what I'm
food
cur-
stamps. Go ahead.
what I'm curious about is how did they pay for gas and car insurance and so on?
Uh,
How do they make that ends meet?
Out of pocket, unless you have EBT cash that is enough to meet that need, but normally it isn't.
So
So
when
functionally,
it's out of pocket like that, do they get any help from the government?
generally speaking, the assistance they get is from child support.
Oh,
So most right. So most times what'll happen is a lady will have a bunch of children from a bunch of different fellas, and she will go to the family law court and get support from the father of the children. And since they get the lion's share of custody, they use a thing called the decimaster, which indicates the amount of money that the male owes to the female for raising the child while getting restrictive visitation benefits.
wow.
So if it ends up where you only get the child for 2 weekends a month, you end up with 4 days, where the mother of the child ends up with 26, so they split it up
This
based on percentage.
so they split. That's how they do the math. Okay, interesting. So they can make actually a nice looks like a very nice living. By the looks of some of these videos, a very nice living indeed. So without
Right. Well,
further ado, will we hop into it?
it's fired up.
Yes, fire it up and see how bad it is.
looking to make a buck. It's hard enough for honest people to get by without others abusing the system put in place for those who really need it. Today, we're diving into some stories where people were caught cheating the system and now they're forced to pay it all back. I get it. Times are tough for a lot of folks, but taking advantage just hurts everyone who actually depends on these benefits. So if you're thinking that you can outsmart the system, take a look at these cases, because sooner or later, the truth and the bill always comes due. So this chick has been all over TikTok bragging about how much money she gets from food stamps. And it looks like a lot of people sent her videos into the state and they opened an investigation. So this right here is the perfect example of, if you're gonna defraud the state, don't post that shit on the internet. I mean, Koya learned that the hard way, posting shit on the internet she wasn't supposed to.
We did come across a few discrepancies in your application. It says, therefore, over the last 6 months, you received benefits that did not belong to you and needs to be paid back. You know how much I have to pay back? Do you want to know how much food stamps I have to pay back?
Tell me.
I have to pay back $27,000.
Ouch.
Good thing is that they offer a payment plan,
Well,
because where the fuck am I going to get $27,000 off of?
I don't know.
And guess what? I'm not even going to pay it. Y'all have to prove to me. Where's the proof? This letter doesn't mean anything. Where's the proof? Show
The proof is
So I can see by their attitude they have yeah, very interesting reading of the law there, isn't it?
Well, the problem is the letter indicates that it has been found in the system that they've defrauded the system. So anybody who knows anything about a thing like this is allowed to report the waste, fraud, or abuse to the local county agency that manages those funds.
Yeah.
And once they look into it and decide that you have defrauded the system, they send you the letter. The letter indicates that they have that proof.
Yes.
And if they want more proof, they can go talk to their social worker, and the social worker will be like, here are all the discrepancies, and here's what you have to pay, and here's why you have to pay it.
Wow.
So, yeah, so she just has a massive disconnect there. So she knows she's done a wrong thing,
Yes.
and she doesn't want to pay the consequences for her ill behavior.
So she's just going to ignore the government.
Yes.
Yes.
She's just going to not pay.
How does
That's her solution.
How does that normally work out for people over there?
Over time, they will just levy your bank account anytime you get money in the bank account, if you have a bank account, or you end up getting incarcerated.
Oh,
The problem is that we're not supposed to have debtors prisons in the United States. So there is a bit of an issue with that. So she wouldn't be charged with the money amount. It would be a fraud charge. So she'd end up getting 6 months or a year out of a fraud charge. But because we can't have a debtor's prison style thing go on here, even if you're defrauding the government, you have to have broken a law outside of that. So some fraud, waste, or abuse
yeah,
ordinance,
it'd be
either
some
locally
sort
or
of.
federally.
It's definitely a charge. I know that because we have similar charges over here if you defraud Department of Social Protection. Not only do you have to pay back the money, but you can also get a really big slap on the wrist with a sentence as well. I presume it's the same over there. You still have to pay the money back as well as a sentence. I presume debt doesn't.
Yeah, you're going to be so you're going to be required to pay the restitution. The problem is if they don't have the money, then you're trying to squeeze a turnip, and you can't get blood from a stone, right? No blood from a stone. So she's a stone. They're not going to be able to get anything from her, but it looks like she's living in a fairly nice place. She's got clean cupboards up there,
I
so
presume
somebody's paying attention.
yeah, I presume she's probably on child support. I could nearly guarantee it. Would you say?
I don't know the individual specific situation, but statistically, it is more likely than not.
Yeah.
The reason that she's getting those benefits in the first place, the SNAP or EBT, is because she has children, but she might have overrepresented the amount of children, or she might have underrepresented her income, lots of stuff like that. So a lot of them will underrepresent their income, and a lot of times, in a lot of jurisdictions, your child support income isn't necessarily weighted against you; it's weighted against the father of the child, because statistically, that's how it works. So
Yes.
the father has a job. The father gets paid to do the job. The father gets taxed for his labor, which is actually a violation of our tax code. And then the money, not his gross, but his net, is then paired out to the mother of the child, and then
Yeah.
she doesn't pay the taxes because the taxes have already been paid on the earned wages.
Wow. Wow,
It's not good.
this is a pretty good system from this lady's point of view, if you think about
She
it.
didn't get caught. Yeah, if she didn't get caught.
Yeah, she
But the
wasn't. But the problem with a lot of these people, and I've seen a few of them who get caught by the Department of Social Protection over here, is they have a tendency to go on to like the TikTok or Instagram or somewhere like that, and they're showing all this fancy new bags they bought or this car they bought and so on, and they think they personally think the Department of Social Protection or even over there do not look at the internet whatsoever ever. They have this under this fantastic illusion.
here you go. If you're doing wrong shit, don't put a spotlight on yourself. That would probably be the first one.
They know it'd be common sense. If you're doing illegal stuff, don't put it on the internet. Probably good of
Well,
life advice,
but
life advice in general.
I think they just feel super entitled,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Because you can defraud the system, you should. Again, it's sliding from a more high trust society
Mm,
to a low trust society.
mm,
People are taking advantage of the system just because they can, as opposed to saying, "Look,
mm.
I don't need that much. I do need a little bit of help, but I didn't need. I don't think she needed
So I'll be
$27,000 in six
honest.
months."
Ever since the Department of Social Protection came into Ireland, there was always been fraud in some shape, form, or fashion. It's always been there. You're never going to have a complete, you know, you're not ever going to have zero fraud in these type of systems. Even if
Well,
we,
yeah, we were talking about the election fraud stuff, and you said, "Look, you're not going to have zero fraud."
yes,
Right? But the problem is when there's enough fraud that there's suspect on the system, that's not good.
I think what happens is when people is the 3 or 4% really make it hard for the other 97% of society to operate.
Well, you were talking about the top 1% and the bottom 2%, right?
Yes.
So we end up with lots of rules in the system because the bottom 2% do not act with other people's interests at all.
Oh no. And,
They're completely
and
selfish and
plus,
entitled.
even not the 2%. It's I've met a lot of single mothers say over in my neck of the woods, and it's just their complete entitlement from start, middle, and finish. They describe it's my money, it's my house, it's my this, it's my that. Even though it's other people paying for all this, that's their attitude they're going in with.
Yeah, it's a flawed perspective, of course. And everybody in the system suffers, just like Ms. Glenn said. They
Yes.
suffer.
Yeah. Let's see the next superstar.
The letter. Where's the proof? There's no proof. The proof is the fucking letter. What does she mean there's no proof? This letter means nothing. The letter is the proof that you owe the money and you need to make a payment plan. This chick is something else.
The proof of what I was doing wrong. This is unbelievable. Didn't your parents ever teach you to mind your own business? Or they didn't teach you that?
I'm sorry, Jessie. Looks like that is her name. Jessie, when you put rage bait on the internet and you brag about things to a bunch of people that aren't very happy about what you are doing, gonna have people do something about it. And now she has learned that, and now she owes $27,000 to the state for overpayment of EBT. Also, something else is
That is her final statement there kind of sums it all up, really, didn't it?
Well,
Mine,
when she says that, yeah, when she says you need to mind your own business, she wasn't minding others people's business when she was stealing from them, right?
no,
So I'll mind my business when you don't steal from me. Now understand that this isn't just the constituency local. It isn't just her
no,
local council, city. These are federal funds, right?
yes,
These are federal funds. So that means everybody in the United States. You're stealing from everybody, right? So did you mind the entirety of the United States tax-paying base when you decided to steal their money? You
yes.
weren't minding your own business there. You were like, I'm going to take from everyone and I'll be just fine. Oh, and then I'll post about it and brag about it. And then I will give you some wild excuse that has nothing to do with any syllogistic like reasoning at all. Just, you know what? Don't watch me steal, and then you won't know I stole. No, no, no. And
I
she's right. The letter is the proof. The letter says you were not due the thing that you stole.
I'll put it this way. I know a lady over here who has 6 going on 7 kids right now, by the way, with 3 different dads. And the county council recently enough gave her a 6-bedroom house in a pretty nice neighborhood, by the way. Actually, nicer than where I live. Actually, more expensive than where I live. Free of charge. She only has to pay 30 odd euros a week for that property. On top of that, she's clearing easy about 2,500 a week in benefits. Euros. She's middle card, she's the whole 9 yards. And free travel, by the way.
NHS,
Yeah, free travel.
NHS and free travel?
Free travel, everything. Whole 9 yards, middle card, everything. And I literally ran into her in town and she was giving out about her new neighbours. Apparently none of her neighbours will talk to her.
Oh,
so
that's funny.
I turned around and I said, I'm not going to say her name, but I said, what? I can tell you why your neighbours aren't going to ever talk to you. Why is that? They're just being nasty and snobby. I said, no, they're not being nasty or snobby. They're paying the bones of $4,000 a month on their mortgage for their properties. You're not. I said, that might cause a small bit of resentment. But she didn't really like my answer, so she kind of walked away. But it's true.
Well, I'm thinking the neighborhood believes they've had someone foisted on them who isn't a tax-paying member of society.
Oh, never has been in our entire life. Never has been. Not 1 ounce ever. And 6 grand, 7 kids later, still going strong on the system.
Ouch.
Yeah, I never forget when I was made redundant years ago. I wasn't even 2 weeks being made redundant, and I was called into the Department of Social Protection that time. I never forget it. I paid tax 20 odd years that stage. Called in straight away. Why are you not looking for a job kind of attitude? But when you have young mothers, apparently we can't say a word. Your kids are growing up now? Why haven't you got a job yet? You know, your kids are in school from 9 to 5 most days, or 9 to 3. Why can't you get a part-time job between those hours?
That's crazy. So you were out of the job market, still working your job while being redundant for 10 days, 10 business days. And when you call social protection, they're like, why aren't you looking for a job?
I was made redundant. And the day I was made redundant, the following day I went down, fill out your little form, you hand it in.
Oh, right.
I was waiting for the redundancy and all that to come through at the time. I said, why not? I paid my tax for 20 odd years. Never unemployed till now. No harm, no foul. All they can say is, no. They said yes with a caveat of you have to fill out this form and show us how many jobs you applied for at the same time. Yeah.
Well, equality doesn't look very equal right now, I'm supposing.
No. Let's see the next. Let's see.
If someone gets caught abusing the food stamp program, you cannot get food stamps ever again in your life, even if you are in dire need. Nope. If you are found to have fraudulently accepted food stamps and you are asked to pay back money, you cannot ever qualify again.
SNAP benefits took my entire tax refund. Then they go and say, well, it was due to an overpayment that they did in 2021 during the pandemic, and it was documented as a human error. I said, what? He said it documented as a human error. She goes and says, yeah, but there's nothing we could do about it because you signed a contract that stated any problems or issues with the application, I'm going to still be at fault for it. I'm not going to lie. I feel some type of way. I feel targeted. I feel like something personal. Someone in the office was like, oh, nope, she's going to pay all this back, something. How dare you end without warning?
What? How can you feel targeted? They don't just make shit up. So here's a little bit of information that you may or may not know. The government knows how much money you have. Okay. Even if you don't report it, if you try to falsify documents, if you try to inaccurately report to the IRS for your taxes, you're trying to not report everything that you're making to the state, they know how much money you have. They do. They know. They know. So there's something about your application that was flagged, and now you have to repay.
So I'm a low.
That's pretty solid. The government knows every penny you take in, no matter how dodgy you try to be.
Well, the other thing is you as an individual are responsible to verify the funds. So if you get paid, say, $1,100 for food stamps, and you're only supposed to get $700, you're supposed to call the social worker and say, hey, reduce my payment next month, whatever, like you paid me $400 too much. Right.
Yes.
So you were supposed to be aware enough of your own finances to not just take that money and be like, oh, hey, it's cool. It's not cool because you
No,
signed
it's
a
not.
contract with the government that says I get $1,100 a month. Yeah, that looks right. When you know you misrepresented on the application. So once the misrepresentation comes out, then they're going to take your tax return. And a
Yes.
lot of these folks get a thing called a child income credit or an earned income credit, an EIC.
Okay.
So they end up not only not paying taxes, but getting $7, $8, $10,000 back because they're considered at the poverty level. So they get a big lump sum of money sometime early in the year. And what she was counting on was her earned income credit to give her 8 to 10 grand. And the government said, no, you owe all these dollars. So they go down, and they don't tell you when you file your taxes that they're going to take it. They don't tell you. You
No.
just don't get the check. You get a letter that says, hey, thanks for making your $8,472 payment. Much appreciated. We'll see you next year. You know?
Well,
So
they're going to get their money. And I fully agree with you. I've seen people over here land themselves in such bullets by just not turn around and tell the Department of Social Protection, by the way, I shouldn't have got this payment. Can I give it back to you? No, they try to hide it from the department. Not for 1 or 2 weeks, by the way. Some of them for 1 or 2 months. And all of a sudden, the department, because it's an automated system, will suddenly catch up with itself. Wait a minute. You're only supposed to get X, but you ended up getting Y for the last couple of weeks. Can we have our money back? And either way, they will, as you say, they will get their money back. They'll take out your wages, future wages, your tax returns. And if all comes to all, they will start docking your weekly payment if you stay on the department's diamonds, they would say.
Right. So they'll, as opposed to getting the 1,100, and you should have got 700, then they'll take a couple $100 every week until they
get their money back. Oh yeah, yes. Big time. Oh, they'll be very nice about their payment plan, but they're getting their money back. And plus, as she said, for every day, you will have a red mark on your file every time you go near the Department of Social Protection. Because they're going to double and triple check every single thing you hand in. Because of that
then
red
you'll
mark.
feel targeted for sure. You will certainly feel targeted.
Oh, by the way, they don't even hide that fact. That's pretty what's going on. It's not you being targeted, it's you being fully vetted, because guess what? You didn't treat us right before.
It doesn't curry good behavior, right?
Oh no. Let's see the next superstar.
The low income girly. Yep.
Low income girly. I've been on food stamps on and off for the better part of like 6 years. I moved out of my parents' house when I was 20, so I'm 26 now. So I've been on food stamps for about that long. Tell me why. I just got this fucking letter in the mail, and I haven't been on food stamps for about 6 months because I got a new job like 5-6 months ago and I knew I wasn't going to qualify. Tell me why I got this fucking letter saying that I owe food stamps $2,095. What the fuck? They also don't give any options for like payment plans on here, or they didn't tell me why. They were just like, oh, just pay this balance or it's gonna get taken out of your next year's tax return. Bitch, the fuck? And the letter came from the collection agency, the government collection agency of food stamps. Like, they have their own collection agency. Also, how evil do you have to be to work that job? Like, I just wanna know. Like, most people who have food stamps are not like well off enough to even be paying $2,000. Like, most of them don't have $2,000 in their bank account. I know, I sure as hell don't. Like, since when did food stamps become a loaning service? Since when do I have to pay this shit back? Like, I'm thinking about it and I'm like, there's no way. there's no way that I've gotten that much in food stamps. Sorry, my ring light died. They're making me pay back like the whole thing with almost no explanation. And like they were supposed to apparently send me a letter because I looked at this up on Reddit to see if it had happened to anyone else. They were supposed to send me a letter about a hearing and all this stuff where I could appeal this. I didn't get any of that shit. I didn't get any of that in the mail. So I don't know what the fuck is going on. And before anyone wants to say shit, no, I did not falsify anything on my food stamps applications. I gave all my information to them. Obviously, I didn't, once I was done with my food stamps and couldn't qualify for them anymore, obviously I wasn't telling them about like the jobs I was working then, but because I was done with the program. But like while I was on food stamps, I reported all my income. I did everything right. So yeah, I'm fucking livid right now, obviously.
Well, something went wrong somewhere. She said that she has been accurately reporting all of her information the entire time she was on food stamps, but yet they sent her a bill for $2,000. Last I checked, the food stamp program is not a loan. Let's look it up right now though, because now I'm curious. No, food stamp benefits are not a loan. That's what I thought. So something went wrong somewhere.
I wanted to.
Wow. She definitely was a bit upset over that letter, wasn't she?
Well, it's a contract issue. So she got a couple of payments probably after she got her job. She stopped providing information and all that kind of stuff, but she still, I'm sure, got a few residual payments.
She might, yeah. So there might have been a couple of weeks there where there was her telling them, and she's starting a new job. The whole thing going on. Either way, the government very rarely make mistakes like that. Very rarely. You know, when they send you a letter that you owe them money, you owe them that money. They will physically prove that you owe them that money. Let's pay the bill. They have payment plans. One lady said they'd do. Right. If you sit down with most of these apartments, they will come up with a payment plan for you. If you work with them, sure. Most of them are pretty reasonable people. If she's going to go in with that attitude on the phone, I can guarantee you it's not going to end too well.
It's a lot of entitled behavior. And I'm pretty sure she was looking to bridge the gap from getting her first paycheck, and it was kind of a helpful thing to make sure that there was some food in the house while that was going on.
Yeah.
I don't know how long that period was. I don't know how much she was getting paid. That feels like about 2 months though. If she had been on it for about 6 years, I'm figuring she was getting about $1,000 a month, which makes sense.
6 years on food stamps.
Right, but I'm thinking it's the last couple of months where she was using it as like a transition, in quotes, loan, not a loan. And then they're like, hey, the last like 2 or 3 months, you've got money you weren't supposed to get.
Yeah.
I don't think she read the letter very carefully as well. And she could call them and go, hey, I have a $2,000 debt with you guys. What gives? Where was it at? And they identify it for you. And you're like, all right, cool. Can I pay you $150 a month or $150 every couple of weeks when I get paid? And get it paid off. Right?
Yeah, they will play ball with you. Most states, nearly even over here, nearly all of them will play ball with you.
Well, it runs into a thing called the poverty trap. When you have housing and medical benefits and EBT food and EBT cash, you're getting 50 or 60 grand a year in benefits.
Easily.
Why would you get a job that's only going to pay you 35 grand when all of your benefits equal more than you can get at a job? People get dependent on the system.
And what do you think motivated her to get a job? Think her own personal circumstances, you think?
I think people have a want to work, generally speaking, and she didn't have something else going on, so she just got a job to have money and be in control of her own life.
Yeah, fair juice. Actually, in one way, fair juice to her, but another way,
no, I respect the fact that she got the job. That's awesome.
Yeah, but unfortunately, if she goes onto that apartment with that attitude, they're going to nail her. Without a shadow of a doubt.
Well.
Oh no! Now let's see the next superstar.
Share my experience with something that I finally, as of today, have gotten behind me. I am a soon-to-be 38-year-old single mother. I have a soon-to-be 14-year-old. And between 2010 to 2017, I never qualified for governmental benefits.
Okay, she said she never qualified. For 7 years, she never qualified. 2010 to 2017. I'm going to run this in 2x because she does talk a little slow, but I do want to include her story in this because she is openly admitting that she fraudulently filled out documents just to qualify.
No childcare, no food stamps, no Medicaid, no housing, nothing because I always was over the income threshold, and it doesn't even look it. But my daughter had a lot of ailments where she had to go to the ER. She had double ear infections all the time, chronic ear infections. She had intestinal issues. So she was constantly in the ER and or admitted in observation and things of that nature. At the time, rent, childcare was more than rent, daily necessities, food, clothes, things of that nature, gas, and regular utility bills. Anywho, so I was taking care of my daughter, myself, our household, and I lied to get food stamps and Medicaid because it was just too much for me. I could not.
Now, y'all know, I do not like the abuse of taxpayer dollars, right? She clearly abused the system. She just openly admitted that she lied. But that doesn't mean that I don't have empathy and that I don't understand why she did it. She just said she was a single mom. Her daughter was always sick. There wasn't a lot of money. And so she did what she had to do to get by. She was probably, barely able to keep her head above water. She made too much money to qualify for any sort of Medicare or food stamp benefits. And this was an act of desperation of a single mother. I understand that. That still doesn't make it right, though.
Function financially.
What do you think of that?
She did it knowingly. She is party to the action, right?
Yeah.
She has agency, and she decided to abuse the agency by defrauding the system, right? I mean, she said it. I did a bad thing, and now I have to pay. And she finds it very strange that she has to pay when she knowingly defrauded the system.
Yes. And the fact that I think a lot of these people don't realize is eventually the bill will always come due.
Every time. Yep.
Yeah. And I think it's sad really that I know she's in a tough position. She had a kid, she had a whole lot going on, single mother, as this lady said, trying to keep her head above water. But trying to defraud the government is probably a dangerous way to go about it, because not only are you going to make a bad situation worse, the government will get their pound of flesh eventually out of you as well, on top of all your other bills. It's not free money when you're defrauding it like this. I don't think they kind of realize that.
It was extremely hard. So I lied, and I did it for, to me, a good cause. Would I do it again if it was to feed my daughter? Yes.
And that's the other thing too. Would you do it again? Yes, because she needed it to feed her daughter. But now she's having to face the consequences. So I know that there are a lot of people that will be in a really bad spot, and they are just willing to do whatever they need to do to take care of themselves in that moment, and they'll just deal with the consequences later. This is one of those situations where I think people just do whatever they feel like they need to do in the moment, and then they face the consequences later.
So again, she was in the hospital, so she had a lot of bills, lots. So in 2017, I got greedy and I recertified. Instead of waiting, like I'll do it every year, but I'll do it 6 months after year. And so I recertified. And when I recertified, they denied me. I didn't think anything of it. They denied. But then they came with receipts. And they did an audit. And they saw how much I had made. Now, mind you, it wasn't much, but to them, it was a lot. And it angered me. Like, I was like, how do I not qualify for anything? Anywho, so they came to my house, 2018. A lady flashed her badge and said, I'm with the state attorney's office and DCF for, their partnership. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to jail. So she sat down with me, and again, she got my statement, and I told her everything. I was like, I had to rob Peter to pay Paul, and that's not a good thing. But I mean, as a single mother, you have to do what you have to do, because if nothing else, my daughter had food. If nothing else, she was gonna have food.
I get it.
And so we did the long paper, and she came out with like books of receipts of every paycheck. Even when I changed jobs, like she had every paycheck. So I was like, oh my God, I'm going to jail. And she was like, well, luckily Duval County is the only county in Florida that does not prosecute beforehand. Other counties go to jail firsthand, but see, I didn't know that. So when I originally got the call, or when she showed up at my door,
Wow. It's the only county where you cannot go to jail.
Oh, no, beforehand. So
beforehand?
after the fact, if you don't attempt to rectify it, you will get
Oh
incarcerated
yeah, but still,
for the fraud.
wow.
But it doesn't get the money back. See, that's the problem. It doesn't get caught quickly enough. And again, we're not supposed to have debtor's prison in the United States, but this is a form of becoming indebted because we have a welfare state now. It
Yes.
used to be a debt that you had to an outside source could get you incarcerated. And now it's just a tort, it's contract law, it's whatever. But these things are, you functionally have a contract with the government, but since we don't have debtor's prison, again, not for the money stolen, but for the fraudulent act, for the
Wow.
7 years of filing fraudulent claims for benefits.
7 years. I I do. I'll be honest. I agree with this lady. I do feel sorry for her in one way. That she's trying to make ends meet for her daughter, but she had probably a half decent job by the sounds of it.
Right, but she was straddling the poverty trap, right?
Yes.
So she was trying to make sure that she could use some kind of subsidy to get over the hump, which is my kid is sick all the time
Where
and
where's the
I
guy?
need to pay the bills. And
Where's the fella?
what guy?
So let's say
What
where
fella?
I presume she's getting child support, is she? Well, hence.
I don't know. You
Yeah.
tell me. Where's the
Yeah.
fella? You think
Because I
I don't
haven't
think
heard
she
her.
knows.
Yeah. It's interesting because a lot of them come around
So
and a lot of them try to come.
she
A lot of them sometimes over here suddenly don't know where the fella is that got them pregnant. I don't know if it's the same over there, but over here,
oh yeah, for sure,
in
for
order
sure.
to get loan parents and all the other benefits, because usually the guys they shack up with are usually on the dole themselves. Let's call a spade a spade. So in order to get full benefits, they magically don't know who the father is. They don't. Immaculate conception. These things happen. It's over there. It's the same that they suddenly don't know who the guy is if he's not earning enough.
Well, functionally, the problem is again straddling the poverty trap,
Yeah.
right? So when they do that, right? But part of the problem with this is that as opposed to having a relationship with the fella and making a family, they're attempting to substitute the state for a man. So functionally, men protect, provide, and give succor, right? That's what they do.
Yeah.
But when you substitute the state for the man, the state doesn't give a damn about you if you've lied or have acted a little bit out of hand, right? If you're with a fellow, the fellow can say, "Hey, that's not super cool. Like, let's talk about it." But the state doesn't say, "Hey, that's not cool." The state says, "We're going to go ahead and put you in prison because you signed a contract because you didn't want a man, you wanted the state to support you." That's not great either.
No.
Not great either at all.
No. It's not working out well for anyone involved, really, by the sounds of it. No, let's say the conclusion of this lady's story.
Night. I was up with crying. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to prison. Who's going to watch my baby? Like, I Googled and I seen where they had went to these people's jobs and arrested them. Like, I was petrified. And I could not tell anybody. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. I was angry with myself. Like, bro, you know what I'm saying? But again, I did it to before the house. And because my medical bills was like absurd because she was constantly sick. So, they sent me a letter and they told me to go down to the state attorney's office. And as I waited, I was shaking because I was like, they're fixing to come arrest me right here, right now. They're coming to get me. But they also told me to come with a money order for like $150. And I was like, okay, what's this for? So I go in there and I sit with the lady. And again, I'm still looking around like, oh my God, I'm going to jail. I didn't want anybody. Like, now I'm angry. Like, oh my God, my baby's in school. Like, what am I going to do? And it's making me teary-eyed now because that's how scared I was. So the lady sat me at this big long table and I'm looking around. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to jail today. Like, what's going to happen to my baby? Because, all she has me. Like, that's her. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I was petrified. And so she came out with that same book and she was like, yeah, we see every job, every penny you have made.
Told you. They know. They know every penny that you make. Don't falsify those documents. Don't do it.
Every penny you've made while you were getting food stamps and Medicaid. Medicaid was the most, of course, is hospital bills. She ended up giving me my spiel. She was like, listen, we're not going to arrest you. You've never been in any trouble. You are not a habitual offender as far as you've never been sanctioned before. You've never had those issues. So we're going to go ahead and work out a deal. And we're going to work out a payment plan.
She got lucky.
I'm sitting there like, oh my God, I'm not going to jail. Okay, I can breathe. And she says, I couldn't come up and say, this is how much I can pay y'all every month. She gave me my balance. Almost $22,000. Almost $22,000. It was like 21 and some change. And again, Medicaid was a majority because I would get food stamps 6 months out the year. And so think of 7 years, 6, 7 years. Well, yeah, about 6, 7 years at like $300 a month or however much they was giving a mom and baby. But it was majority, again, Medicaid.
It adds up.
So
You think, oh, $300 a month in food, $300 a month in food, that ain't much. It amounted to $22,000. And I mean, there was Medicaid in there too, but damn.
Ooh, that's a bill to pay back.
She got off super easy.
Yes.
So she must have partially qualified because 7 years of hospital bills on Medicaid, which is Florida's version of Medicare.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a lot. That's a lot. So she had to have gotten some kind of partial.
They probably
she'd end up
they probably
paying
went through her
$200,000 or
file.
$300,000.
Yeah, they probably went through her file properly and said, look, this is if she filled out the forms right, this is how much she would have got anyway. And then now she's just paying back the excess that she defrauded. Let's call it what it is. 22,000. Let's call it. Let's even it out for her. Wow. She got a very, as you said, she got a very light. Very, very light.
She didn't get incarcerated. She gets to pay it back. She gets to take care of her baby.
Yes.
All good.
It's all good.
14-year-old baby.
But yeah, 14-year-old baby. Yes. That, can't look after themselves for any shape, form, or fashion. But anyway. Wow. That's Medicare. So that's fraud in the United States. It really does add up, doesn't it?
That is, in fact, fraud in the United States, my friend.
Oh,
That's how they're perpetrating it.
Wow.
Again, it has to do with substituting the state for men.
Yes.
Right?
I've seen it so many times with our own single mothers over here. The amount of shenanigans they carry on with is crazy. And the sad thing, like her, when the single mothers are caught, they'll say, oh, I'm doing it for my child, blah, blah. The usual, break out the violin kind of stories.
Yeah, the usual bollocks, my friend.
Yes.
Usual bollocks.
And you know what they usually end up with? Like her just slapping the backside and pay back 10 or a week or something silly like that. Where if it's...
Yeah, they'll never pay back the debt completely. They just
No.
won't.
But as you said, it's a double standard. If that was a guy who turned around and defrauded the system for 22,000, what do you think would happen?
Well, I'm aware of a case where there was a couple who had a child, and the mother of the child disappeared. But the grandchildren took over raising the baby, and they went to the local county, and they got money for the baby. They got the DCF, they got the SNAP benefits, they got all the stuff. When they eventually found out that the grandparents had committed multiple felonies, they had to go to court.
Ooh.
And in court, the lawyer for the fella that I know said, look, we can fight this, and you'll have to pay me the $6,000 or $7,000, and then you'll have to pay them the $6,000 or $7,000 as well, or you can just take it on the nose, pay the money, and get a visitation plan and reduce your overall money is required to pay. So it seems the system is broken in one way. And
Yes.
family law courts are courts of equity, not courts of law. So that's why there's all kinds of wild accusations and crazy stuff going on. But the system is definitely geared against men because women are replacing men with the state. They're just getting their funds extracted by the deso master and then functionally by taxes and all the other things that are in the system. So
do you think the system would be? Do you think the system like they have in the UK, if you're applying for loan parents, and be honest, the state will eventually figure out who the biological father is. They'll narrow it down very quickly for you, because unless you can go in and prove that you're genuinely don't know who the father is, it's very hard to qualify for loan parents over there.
Problem is that the people in the system who are taking from the system are allowed to vote in that system, and they will continue to vote to take more and give the state more power and replace men in the system even further than they've already gone. So once the people who take are given the voting franchise, they will continue to vote in such a way as to advantage themselves and give more power to the state to extract funds from, well, we know, from men to be given directly to women. That's just how it goes.
That's an interesting point of view to finish up on, as they would say. So, anything else to say before we finish up?
I have nothing further to add, Patrick. Not even a little bit.
There we
can
go.
ahead and
There
wrap
we
this
go.
one
As I
up.
said, interesting system over there. Very, very interesting.
I like it. All right. Like the like, ring the bell, help us beat the algorithm. We're the A&P Gents, and we are